Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are really glad you're here with us today because we are about to unpack a career that, well, by all conventional metrics, it shouldn't really exist.
It really shouldn't. I mean, we are looking at a set of data points that are just so contradictory. They almost feel like a glitch in the Hollywood matrix.
Right. It's a total statistical anomaly. Usually when we sit down to analyze the people who hold the absolute highest records in Academy Award history.
The Mount Rushmore of acting, so to speak.
Exactly. We're looking at these polished, quintessential movie stars, the Katharine Hepburns, the Meryl Streeps, the Nicholsons, people who were basically groomed for the spotlight.
They absolutely were. They have the look, they play the game, they have the whole brand built around them.
But today, we are looking at Frances McDormand, and the mission for this deep dive is to understand a specific and, I think, fascinating contradiction.
Okay.
How did a character actor who identifies as white trash, someone who actively rejects the whole Hollywood glamour machine, wears no makeup on the red carpet, refuses to sign autographs,
Right. The anti-star.
the ultimate anti-star,
Right.
how did she manage to shatter records that no one else in the history of cinema, man or woman, has ever even touched?
And that is the central question, isn't it? Because to get there, we've got a massive stack of source material to get through: biographical data, career retrospectives, a lot of critical theory on her acting style, and the raw numbers.
The numbers are staggering.
They are, because the headline here isn't just that she's a good actress. I mean, that's obvious. It's that she has achieved the triple crown of acting and set a precedent with her film Nomadland that has fundamentally changed the economics of her career.
We're talking about a career that spans over 4 decades, from, the Coen brothers' indie grit in the 80s all the way to billion-dollar Transformers movies and then right back to high art
That is
masterpieces.
the versatility.
But before we get to the awards podiums and the records, I want to start with that term I just used because it's a jarring one: white trash.
It is jarring. It's a very loaded term.
It really is. Most celebrities, they spend millions of dollars on PR teams trying to scrub any evidence of a rough or unglamorous upbringing from their biography. They want the fairy tale.
Of course.
But McDormand seems to, lean into the grit?
She doesn't just lean into it, she wears it like a badge of honor. And to really understand her acting, that specific, grounded, truthful quality she brings to the screen, you have to understand where that self-identification comes from.
Okay, so let's start there. Her origins.
It starts right at the beginning. She was born Cynthia Ann Smith in 1957 in Gibson City, Illinois, but she was put up for adoption almost immediately.
And this is where that identity really starts to form, right? It's the story of her biological mother.
Right, exactly. She was adopted at 1.5 years old by a couple named Noreen and Vernon McDormand, who then renamed her Frances Louise. Now, typically in these Hollywood biographies, the biological parents are kind of a footnote.
Sure, they're not part of the main story.
But McDormand has been incredibly open and really specific about her biological mother. She's speculated that her biological mother was likely a parishioner at the church where her adopted father preached.
Oh, wow.
And she has famously described her biological mother, and by extension her own genetic baseline, as white trash.
But she's not using that as a slur, is she? When I read that, it doesn't sound like self-hatred. It's something else.
No, and that's the key insight here. So you're exactly right. She's reclaiming the term. It's almost to signal kind of class allegiance. She isn't trying to be an aristocrat or, a debutante.
Right, she's not putting on airs.
She identifies with the working class, with the people on the fringes, with the people who are so often overlooked. She's signaling to the world, and definitely to the industry, that she is not of Hollywood. She is of the people.
And that lack of pretension is the foundation of every single character she plays. It's why you believe her when she plays a factory worker or a police officer or a nomad.
Absolutely. It circles back to her childhood environment, too. Her adoptive parents weren't your typical suburban couple with a white picket fence.
And a Canadian, right.
They were Canadian, originally from Nova Scotia. Her mother was a nurse and receptionist, and her father was a Disciples of Christ pastor.
Okay.
But not just a pastor who stays in one church for 30 years. He specialized in something really specific called restoring congregations.
That sounds intense. What does that actually mean, restoring congregations?
It means the family was itinerant. They were basically spiritual fixers. The church hierarchy would send Vernon McDormand into a broken, struggling, or, dying community
Oh, wow.
in Illinois, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee. And his job was to fix the church, get the congregation back on its feet, And then, once it was stable, the family would just pack up and move to the next broken town.
So for a young child, I mean, that means you never really have a home base. You are constantly the new kid.
Constantly. And think about the skill set that you have to develop just to survive that. You're always entering new social ecosystems.
A new school, new friends.
You're walking into a new school in Georgia, then a new one in Kentucky. You have to read the room immediately. You have to understand the local dialect, the social hierarchy, who the bullies are, where you fit in. You have to adapt just to survive.
It's not just survival, though, is it? It's training.
It is the best acting class you could possibly take before the age of 18. It's not a stretch at all to say that this itinerant childhood foreshadows her ability to just slide into different dialects later in life.
Like in Fargo.
Exactly. She learned early on that identity is fluid, that you change how you present yourself depending on where you are. And it also, it directly foreshadows her role in Nomadland, playing a woman who lives on the road. But we'll definitely get to that later.
Okay, so she has this gritty, mobile upbringing. The family finally settles down in Monison, Pennsylvania, which is where she finishes high school. Now, the logical next step for someone with that background who wants to act might be to just, I don't know, go to New York, wait tables, and start auditioning.
Right, the school of hard knocks approach.
Yeah. But she does the complete opposite.
She does, and this is the second major contradiction in our profile here. She identifies as working class, she calls herself white trash, but her training is absolutely elite.
So she goes the academic route.
The highest academic route possible for an actor.
She goes to college first.
Yes, she gets a Bachelor of Arts from Bethany College in West Virginia, but then she applies to and gets accepted into the Yale School of Drama.
Which is, arguably the most prestigious theatrical training ground in the entire country. It's the Ivy League of acting.
It is the absolute pinnacle. She earns her Master of Fine Arts there in 1982. So when we watch her on screen, what we're seeing isn't just natural talent or some raw, untrained charisma.
It's a craft.
It's high-level intellectual craft. She understands the mechanics of theater, of voice, of movement, of text analysis. She's a technician in the best sense of the word.
And while she's in this phase, living in New York after graduating, young, hungry, trying to make it, she ends up with a roommate who is also destined for greatness.
Yeah.
I love this detail because it feels like a movie in itself.
It really does. It's almost too perfect. Her roommate was Holly Hunter.
No way. Can you just imagine the energy in that apartment?
Right.
Frances McDormand and Holly Hunter, before they were famous, just sharing rent and splitting pasta.
It's incredible to think about, and that connection was so crucial. It wasn't just a friendship, it was a professional network. They were both Southern, or at least McDormand had that Southern exposure from her travels.
Right.
They were both petite, they were both fierce, and they were both looking for roles that weren't just the girlfriend or the victim. And that network, led directly to the moment the fuse was lit, 1984.
The Coen brothers era begins.
It all starts with Blood Simple. This was the debut film for Joel and Ethan Coen.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time. Your debut film is also the debut of two of the most important directors in modern American history.
It was a massive, massive turning point. Blood Simple is this incredible neo-noir, this sweaty Texas crime thriller. And McDormand plays Abby, a woman who's caught in this chaotic, terrifying murder plot.
But for her, it was more than just a job or a break.
So much more. She married the director, Joel Coen, that very same year.
And that's not just a footnote. In an industry where marriages have the shelf life of a banana, they have been together since 1984.
Still are. They live in Marin County, California, far away from the paparazzi of Los Angeles. They adopted a son from Paraguay. That stability is incredibly rare.
And it must have had a huge artistic impact.
Oh, absolutely. Artistically, this partnership allowed her to be a muse, but never a passive one. They built a language together. But here is where it gets really interesting. She didn't just play the same role over and over for them.
Oh, not at all. Look at the range in the 80s alone.
Yeah.
She starts with Blood Simple, which is this gritty, terrified character. And then 3 years later, in 1987, she's in Raising Arizona.
Playing Dot.
Give me that baby high.
Exactly. If you've seen the movie, you know Dot. She's just chaotic, colorful, hilarious. She's pure slapstick energy.
It's a complete 180 from Blood Simple.
A total 180.
Okay.
And then, just to give the audience whiplash, 1988, she pivots again, this time to Mississippi Burning.
And this is a serious, heavy film. Civil rights abuses in the 1960s. She's playing against Gene Hackman.
And she is holding her own, which is not easy to do against Gene Hackman in the 80s.
Not at all.
This role earned her her very first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress, and the critics went wild for her here. Sheila Benson from the Los Angeles Times wrote that while Hackman was great, quote, McDormand soars right with him. She called McDormand the film's sole voice of morality.
Wow, that's a heavy lift, to be the moral center of a movie that dark and that violent.
And she did it by being quiet, by being observant. It was the complete opposite of Dot in Raising Arizona. And just to cap off the 80s, in that very same year, she was nominated for a Tony Award for playing Stella in A Streetcar Named Desire on Broadway.
So by the end of the 80s, she's already proved she can do slapstick comedy, heavy political drama, and Tennessee Williams on stage. I mean, most actors spend a lifetime trying to master just one of those lanes.
Precisely. She established so early on that she could not be typed. She wasn't the funny one or the serious one. She was just, well, whatever the role required her to be. But the 90s, that is when she stops being that actress from the Coen Brothers movies and becomes a full-blown cultural icon.
We're talking about the big one, Fargo, 1996.
Police Chief Marge Gunderson.
Yeah. I want to spend a moment unpacking this character because it's so easy to take her for granted now, almost 30 years later. But at the time, was there anyone like Marge on screen?
Absolutely not. Think about female cops in movies before 1996. They were essentially falling into two buckets.
Okay.
Either they were trying to be men, tough, aggressive action heroes holding a gun sideways, or they were victims in distress who needed saving. Marge Gunderson was 7 months pregnant. She was polite. She had that incredible Minnesota nice accent. And she was arguably the smartest person in the entire room, but she never, ever raised her voice.
She just kills you with confidence and decency.
That's a great way to put it. She investigates these gruesome wood chipper level murders while also worrying about her husband's painting competition and making sure everyone has had a good lunch.
It grounds the absurd violence of the film in this bizarre, wholesome reality.
It really does. And the Academy definitely noticed.
She won her first Best Actress Oscar.
She did. Roger Ebert called it one of the best films I've ever seen, and he said her performance was, quote, true in every individual moment.
That phrase, true in every individual moment, that seems to be the common thread, doesn't it, in all the reviews of her work?
It is the thread. She doesn't act in the traditional sense of putting on a big show or chewing the scenery. She just dissolves. When you watch Marge Gunderson, you don't see Frances McDormand acting like a cop. You see a pregnant woman in a parka who happens to be solving a murder.
But here is the interesting thing about her career trajectory after that. Usually, when an actress wins Best Actress, especially in the 90s, the next step is to capitalize.
Of course. You become a leading lady.
You chase the glamour roles, the romantic comedies, the magazine covers.
Yeah.
McDormand, she didn't do any of that.
No, she went right back to being a chameleon. She went back to taking these incredible supporting roles where she could steal the whole show without having to carry the poster. She didn't want the burden of stardom. She just wanted the work.
And I'm thinking of Almost Famous in 2000. That's one of my personal favorites.
Elaine Miller, the overbearing mother.
Don't take drugs.
Yes. The way she played that role, she so easily could have been the villain of the movie. She was the fun killer stopping her son from being a cool rock journalist.
Right. The uncool mom.
But because McDormand played her, you understood that her strictness came from a place of this terrifying, overwhelming love. She made the uncool parent the emotional anchor of the entire film.
And she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for that.
She was. And again for North Country in 2005. And for Wonder Boys in 2000, she won a bunch of Critics Awards. She was just racking up nominations by simply being the most believable person on screen every single time.
But I want to touch on the commercial side for a second, because I think there is this misconception that she only does small, artsy, intellectual films.
That's a great point. It's not true at all.
I was looking at her filmography and I saw Transformers.
Transformers, Dark of the Moon. 2011, she played the National Intelligence Director, Charlotte Meering.
That feels so out of place.
Yeah.
Frances McDormand talking to Optimus Prime.
Does it? Or is it just another job? That's that white trash work ethic coming through again. A job is a job. She's a working actor.
That's a fair point.
And she voiced Captain Chantal Dubois in Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted.
Wait, Madagascar 3, the animated movie? Did she sing? I feel like I remember that.
She did. She sang a version of the French classic, Non, je ne regrette rien. And she totally crushed it. But these roles are important because they drive her box office numbers. Her total box office gross exceeds $2.2 billion. She is commercially incredibly successful.
Which I imagine gives her the financial freedom to go do a play for $500 a week if she wants to. She's not desperate for a paycheck so she can choose the art.
Exactly. She's built a career that gives her total freedom. And speaking of plays, this is where we need to talk about the hardware, the big awards.
Right.
We mentioned the Oscar for Fargo, but in the 2010s, she starts hunting for the other jewels in the crown.
The Triple Crown. Oscar, Emmy, Tony. For the listener who doesn't follow awards closely, can you explain just how rare this is?
It is the holy grail of acting. It means you have been judged to be the best in film, the best in television, and the best on Broadway. Most actors can't transition between those mediums effectively.
For such different skills.
Totally different. Film acting is small and internal. Stage acting is big and projective. You have to use your body and voice in completely different ways.
But McDormand has that Yale training. She was built for this.
Exactly. In 2011, she returned to Broadway for a play called Good People. She played a troubled single mother in South Boston who loses her job at a dollar store. It was gritty, it was funny, and it was just heartbreaking.
And that performance won her the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play.
It did, the second jewel in the crown.
So now she's 2/3 of the way there. She has the Oscar and the Tony. What's left is the Emmy.
And then comes 2014. HBO's Olive Kitteridge.
Based on the Elizabeth Strout stories.
Yeah.
I remember when this came out, it felt like a 4-hour movie, just this incredible character study.
And this was a passion project. This is a pivotal moment in her career evolution because McDormand didn't just star in it. She optioned the book herself. She produced it. She made it happen because she knew Hollywood wasn't just going to hand her a role like that.
That's a huge shift from being an actor for hire to being the one who makes the project exist.
A total power shift. And playing Olive Kitteridge, I mean, talk about a difficult woman.
Oh, she's very difficult. Olive is misanthropic. She's strict. She's sometimes cruel to her husband and son. She is not likable in any traditional sense.
Not at all. But McDormand made you love her, or at least she made you understand her so deeply. And she swept the Emmys. She won Outstanding Lead Actress. But here is the crucial detail.
The producing part.
The producing part. She also won Outstanding Limited Series as a producer.
So in 2014, she becomes the 12th actress in history to achieve the Triple Crown of acting.
It is an incredibly exclusive club. She joined legends like Helen Mirren, Viola Davis, and Jessica Tandy. But McDormand wasn't done. In fact, looking back now, it feels like she was just warming up for her biggest act.
This is the part of her career that just blows my mind. The conventional wisdom in Hollywood is that actresses have an expiration date.
It's a brutal reality.
You peak in your 30s, maybe hold on in your 40s, and then you move into grandma roles or you just disappear. McDormand hits her 60s and enters her most dominant era.
The Three Billboards era, 2017.
3 Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. She plays Mildred Hayes.
A grieving mother who rents 3 roadside billboards to shame the local police into solving her daughter's murder. And this performance was it was visceral.
It was pure rage.
Pure rage. She wore a blue mechanic's jumpsuit. She had an undercut hairstyle. She looked like a woman who had completely given up on nice and was running purely on fury.
And the timing culturally was perfect, wasn't it?
It could not have been more perfect. This was 2017, the absolute peak of the Time's Up and Me Too movements. Mildred Hayes became a symbol of female rage against institutional incompetence and neglect.
And she swept the award season.
A clean sweep. She won her second Best Actress Oscar, the BAFTA, the Golden Globe, the SAG, all of them.
I remember her Oscar speech that year. She asked all the female nominees in every single category to stand up.
Look around, ladies and gentlemen. It was such a powerful moment. And then she said, I have 2 words to leave with you tonight. Inclusion writer.
She used her platform to push for systemic change in hiring practices. She wasn't just accepting a trophy, she was organizing. She was using her power.
She absolutely was. There was also that wild story about her Oscar being stolen at the after party.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. It was briefly stolen, and some guy was live streaming with it before he got caught.
And her reaction was basically, let him go. I'm not pressing charges. It was so perfectly on brand, just no drama.
So she joins the club of 2-time winners. That's already legendary status. That's Meryl Streep, Jane Fonda territory. But then 2020 happens.
Nomadland.
The film was so different from 3 Billboards. 3 Billboards was loud and angry. Nomadland was quiet. It was almost a documentary.
It's a masterpiece of realism, a true docudrama. She played Fern, a widow who loses everything in the Great Recession. Her husband, her job, her entire town essentially dissolves, and she begins living in a van, traveling the American West.
And I read that during the filming, she actually lived in the van. She worked actual shifts at an Amazon fulfillment center, packing boxes. People didn't realize she was an actress.
That's right. The director, Chloe Zhao, used a lot of non-professional actors, real nomads, and McDormand just blended in with them. There's a famous story that a local Target offered her an application form because they thought she was just a local woman down on her luck looking for temporary work.
That is the ultimate validation of her method. If you can fool Target, you can fool the camera.
It is. It's just incredible. And the Academy validated it, too. She won Best Actress again. That makes 3.
Okay, let's pause on the math here, because this is where it gets historic. 3 Best Actress Oscars.
She is now the second woman in history to win Best Actress 3 times. The only person ahead of her is the legend, Katharine Hepburn, who has 4. McDormand has now surpassed Meryl Streep and Ingrid Bergman in the lead actress category count.
That is a legitimate statistical anomaly. But there was another record with Nomadland, wasn't there? Something to do with producing.
Yes, and this is the one that really sets her apart as a business force, not just an artist. Remember, she produced Nomadland.
Right, like with Olive Kitteridge.
Exactly. She found the book Nomadland by Jessica Bruder. She bought the rights, and she was the one who hired Chloe Zhao to direct it. And the film won Best Picture.
So she won the Oscar for Best Actress and the Oscar for Best Picture.
For the same film, in the same night. She is the first person in history, man or woman, to win Academy Awards as both a producer and a performer for the same film.
Wait, not even Clint Eastwood or Warren Beatty did that?
No. They've won for directing and picture or acting in picture in different years, but winning Best Actress and Best Picture simultaneously for the same project.
Yeah.
That is unique to Frances McDormand.
That is the ultimate flex. It's like saying, I built the house, I paid for the house, and I'm the best thing in the house.
That's a great way to put it. It really speaks to her agency. She isn't waiting for the phone to ring. She isn't complaining that there are no good roles for women in their 60s. She's creating the work. She's building the pipeline herself.
It really circles back to that white trash identity we started with. She's a worker. She's not a diva waiting in her trailer. She's getting her hands dirty on the production side.
That's a great analogy. She approaches producing with the exact same grit she approaches acting.
So we have the biography, we have the records. I want to try to synthesize this for the listener. What is her secret sauce? Critics seem to struggle to describe her because she doesn't have tricks. You know, she doesn't have a signature Frances McDormand quirk like some actors do.
They do struggle. Reviewers consistently use words like unvarnished, no artifice, flesh and blood. Roger Ebert wrote in a review for Laurel Canyon, all the way back in 2002, he said, "She plays radically different roles as easily as she walks. How she does it is a mystery."
But we know it's not really a mystery. It's a choice.
It's a choice to reject vanity. Think about it. Most actors have a brand they protect. They want to look attractive or heroic or likable. They worry about their angles on camera.
Right.
McDormand doesn't care about any of that. She only cares about the truth of the character. If the character is tired, she looks tired. If the character has bad skin, she has bad skin. She lets her face move naturally. She famously hasn't frozen her expressions with Botox.
That's a huge part of it, I think. Her face is a map of human experience. You can read it.
Leonard Maltin said of Nomadland, "Because Fern is played by McDormand, we know she is genuine. That trust she has built with the audience over 40 years allows her to do things other actors just can't. When she cries on screen, you don't think, oh, that's some good acting. You think, that woman is in real pain."
It's interesting that despite this seriousness, this commitment to gritty realism, she has done some really quirky stuff recently. We mentioned the singing in Madagascar. But didn't she also voice God?
She did. In the Amazon series Good Omens in 2019, she provided the voice of God.
Which honestly feels kind of appropriate given her status in the acting world. If anyone gets to play God, it should be her.
It really does. And it shows she has a sense of humor about herself. She's not taking herself too seriously, even if she takes the work very, very seriously.
And she's not slowing down. She's still taking huge swings.
Not at all. In the 2020s alone, alongside Nomadland, she did The French Dispatch with Wes Anderson, which is pure whimsy, playing a journalist, and she played Lady Macbeth in The Tragedy of Macbeth, directed by her husband, Joel Coen.
Shakespeare, I mean, that's going back to her Yale roots. Full circle.
Completely. And in 2022, she produced and appeared in Women Talking, which was nominated for Best Picture.
So she is consistently in the Best Picture conversation, either as an actor or as a producer or both.
Consistently. She has 8 Oscar nominations in total, 6 for acting, 2 for producing, and she has won 4 of them. That batting average is unheard of. She picks winners because she knows what a good story looks like from the ground up.
Okay, so let's zoom out. What does this all mean for us? For the listener who might be an accountant or a teacher or a student, why should they care about the career of Frances McDormand?
Well, I think the lesson here is about the long game. We live in a culture that is obsessed with youth, with viral moments, and with image curation. Everyone is trying to present a polished version of themselves on Instagram.
Right.
McDormand played the long game of authenticity. She didn't try to fit the mold of a movie star. She forced the mold to expand to fit her.
And she proves that versatility is the key to longevity.
Mm.
If she had only played Marge Gunderson types for 20 years, we wouldn't be having this conversation. She would have been a trivia question.
Yeah.
But because she can play the mom in Almost Famous and the nomad in Nomadland and Lady Macbeth, she is always relevant.
And she proves that you can come from anywhere. You can be from a restoring congregation family. You can call yourself white trash. And you can still rise to the absolute pinnacle of high art without losing your soul. She didn't have to sell out to win.
It's a career of constant reinvention, but without ever losing that core identity. She's always Frances.
Beautifully put. She is the anchor in every storm.
Okay, here is a provocative thought to leave you with. We know she's competitive. We know she is more than capable of producing her own work. She currently has 3 Best Actress Oscars. Katharine Hepburn has 4.
The ultimate record. The one they always say will never be broken.
McDormand is in her 60s. She is producing high-level work. She is dominating the screen. She's just one statue away. What are the odds she decides to go for that record? To actively hunt it down?
I would not bet against her. She has the range, she has the respect of the industry, and most importantly, she now has the power to cast herself in the perfect winning role. If she finds the right book, the right story, she'll make the movie, and she'll win.
If anyone can catch Hepburn, it's Marge Gunderson. Thanks for listening to this deep dive into the incredible, anomalous career of Frances McDormand. We hope you view her next performance with a little more awe.
See you next time.